So I'm talking today to a Cleveland artist named Romello. I came across his videos on YouTube and was blown away. They were by far the best independently created Cleveland videos I've ever seen. And so I contacted you and couldn't believe, the art and the that you've created and the essence of Cleveland that your videos and music, document. And I mean, from the restaurant scene to the rap hip hop scene to Cleveland life in general. So I just I'm honored to be able to talk to you today. So
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about you. What part of town did you grow up in? How'd you gravitate toward creating your music?
Yes. Part of town I grew up in is the east side of Cleveland. We call it down the way, DTW for short, and it's pretty much like the projects, the lower part of Cleveland, close to downtown. The street I grew up on was East 43rd and Quincy. It's a one-way. I still remember the address, the apartment number, and everything. 2490 East 43rd. But you know what? The apartment I grew up in is not there no more. It's a parking lot now. You know what I'm saying? Probably somebody's parking spot. So I can't go back there and actually show the actual apartment I grew up in. I mean, that'd have been nice if I could have done that, but my memories of it is still there. So yeah, that's where I grew up at. How I got into music.
Tell me about your family structure in life. Who did you grow up with? Nuclear family, mom, dad household, or multi-generational, or what was your house, family like?
Okay. My family, I believe it was like my grandparents, they, on my mom's side, I believe it was like 11. They had like 11 kids. I haven't met, I believe it's 2 uncles I haven't met because they were deceased. And I don't know anything about them, but the stories, I never met them. I also have an auntie, one of my aunts, I hear great stories about her, how she was very, a family person. And she's deceased. She's through the domestic violence or whatever.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I also have an aunt that's deceased that she recently passed in 2016 due to cancer, and she was like a close aunt to me. She was real nice to me. She always bought me things, and her name was Pat. And she actually, when I started smoking weed, she was like one of my first persons that actually, I smoked with, and it was cool with it. And I used to love going around her and things of that nature, She was like one of the oldest I think she was the oldest out of the sisters.
How old was she, and how old were you when you smoked weed with her?
I was 14. It was sometime after I turned 14, because that's when I started smoking weed. And when she, found out that I did, it was like, let's go, you want to hit it, But I don't know how old she was, but she was, when she passed, she had just turned 62, I believe. Her 62th birthday was February 4th. And she passed maybe like end of January. But I was like close to her passing, I was staying with her, so I was like her I would say caretaker or anything like that. I was the person that was there with her, staying at home with her and making sure she was okay, got things she needed, and
good for you.
So, like I said, we was real close, so it worked out well. And at the time, I actually needed a place to stay. I had got into a little trouble. So this was around 2013, like the middle of 2013, and that I had came home. I did like a 5-year, bid or whatever. I mean, not 5 year, 5 months from a violation. From a 5-year bid that I ended up doing. I did 4 years and I still had like papers and stuff like that. You know how that stuff goes. It was like a supervised release type of thing. And I got into trouble. I always, dealt with marijuana. So, I smoke it and, I try to turn a coin if I can, off of it. But for the most part, I kept my hands clean, but, you get in run-ins with the law. And I had a situation where I had to go and I violated and I had to finish my bid off. So coming home from that violation, that's when I found out about my aunt's illness. And so therefore, one of my other aunts, we real cool. And she have 2 sons. Her name's Linda. And that's gonna bring me to the next thing I'm gonna get into where I got started into music, because it was actually one of her sons that got me started to the music. So Linda, my aunt Linda, she kind of, like the stories that I hear about my aunt Teresa, that she lost her life from domestic violence, is how I see Teresa into my aunt, like my aunt Linda. And so Teresa was, I think, maybe like the 3rd sister. My aunt Linda is, I believe, is the 4th. And then my mom is the, hold on, let me think. Hold on, how many sisters was it? I got Beverly, and we got Pat, which is the oldest sister. Beverly was under Pat. My aunt Linda was under Beverly, then my mom. So it's 4 sisters. I think I said that right. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, my mom is the youngest. And Linda and my mom, they kind of resemble each other the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at my Aunt Linda and I see my mom. I look at my mom, I see my Aunt Linda. So, it's just kind of crazy. So Linda, but the stories I hear about Teresa is, I see in Linda. So now where that brings me to the point where Linda asked me to, she didn't want to tell me about my aunt's illness. So she asked me to, stay with my Aunt Pat and, look after her. It was a thing that it was like no problem. I was with it, off the rip, like, yeah.
And it gave you something positive to focus on, to give you a positive purpose in your post, coming out of,
Yeah, projects and things of that nature. Because they was always around, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that brings me back to the, where I come from. And, my aunts, it was mainly like the women. And, my uncles, they was in the streets, so they mainly wasn't really around. They was doing jail time and things of that nature. So we really didn't really have that many male figures around. Fathers weren't really in the picture all like that as well. Do different things. My pops, he did his best. He was good. Like it was like a long distance relationship. My pops, he don't like the cold. And so I guess when my mom and my aunts and them decided to come to Cleveland, because they not from Cleveland. They from Montgomery, Alabama. That's where my mom from, and my aunts and everybody. That's where they started from, And my pops, he from Phoenix City, Alabama. So I don't know how they ended up hooking up or whatever. But my pops, he a lot older than my mom. It was a thing when they was younger. It was a big thing about that, because she was actually a little underage. She wasn't that underage. She was like 17, and he was maybe like 30, I believe. So it was like a big deal. And according to my pops, I believe they only connected like once. What I'm saying? It was a funny thing when he told me. I didn't ask for this information. He just volunteered it to me. It was funny. Because I didn't, it wasn't like a relationship thing with him and my mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my mom was kind of crazy over the guy, so, and, he being a male, and he doing his thing. And it ain't that he didn't care for my mom, but, he just, he doing him. And, I guess they linked up when they moved, when my moved to Cleveland or whatever, you know, I guess my pops, he do like windows, he install windows, and he get like different jobs all over the place. And you know, because of he install windows. And that's one of the things he always told me, like, if you learn this skill, you can go anywhere in the world and you can have a job.
So it sounds like work ethic was something your dad was an influence on, even though he wasn't around. Well, you know, and I know your work ethic. You know, it's strong, and anything any of us put our heads to, you can get done as long as you want it and you want to do it. And what else did your dad influence you on? You know.
Well, like I say, you know, by him staying in, well, he had moved to Atlanta, well, actually College Park. So he have a house he owned out there, and he do jobs all over the place. So that's one thing that I love about him. I haven't really got into my traveling type of thing, but you know, it's in me to do so. And I'm connected with my pops. I just recently was in Phoenix City. I believe it was in November. I went out there and I stayed for like almost a week. And that's my first time I remember ever being in Phoenix City. No, actually I was younger, so that's my second time in Phoenix City. But I was younger because I remember a lady was talking about how I stand. She was like, he's sloop-footed or something. I didn't know what that mean or nothing like that. You know what I mean? She was talking about how the way I stand. So that's how I remember the first time I was in Phoenix City, Alabama. The second time was that I remember being out there. Yeah, it was funny. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
Hey, so is it like, were they commenting on like a hip hop stance or what's sloop footed? I mean, I've heard the term. What's that mean? I mean,
I guess it was like the way my feet was positioned or something, or the way I stand.
Like pigeon footed, or the
well, pigeon footed I guess was in.
Yeah,
and I guess sloop footed is like out or whatever. I still really don't know to this day, but at the same, like, you know, that's how it was described to me. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, well, you know, that's what it is. You know, I guess I'm sloop footed or whatever. You know what I mean?
That'd be a good name for a stage name.
Yeah, sloop footed. Yeah, it's definitely catchy and it's definitely different. You know.
Jesus. So, what was Phoenix City? I've traveled around Alabama a lot and driven through the back roads, driving down to Florida and stuff, and you know, saw where Hank Williams, one of the godfathers of country music, was born. And it's in the middle of nowhere, and it looks like old plantation houses and shacks, and then an occasional decent looking house, but it looks like an entirely, you know, some of the places in Alabama, you know, not Montgomery and Mobile, you know, that are cities, you know, but even those are older styled than what we have up here. Exactly. What'd you think of it? Tell me about Phoenix City, you know,
Yeah, you pretty much describe what I think about it is pretty much like an old style type of city. I really don't know much about it. I didn't spend much time there, but it's different. It's different than Cleveland. It seemed kind of slower. I don't want to say it's slower or nothing like that. I just like say it just seemed different. Like I'm going back in the past or something in the history or something. I don't know. That's what it seemed like to me.
How do people act different up as opposed to north and south? I've been told that all the time. You get called a Yankee and you know, you speak too fast, you know, and you know, the southern lifestyle is slower or you know, probably a nicer term is relaxed, you know.
Yeah, that's a nicer term, yeah.
And
I would say relaxed.
And it's different, you know, but also I think the places that we play in society up here end up not translating the same down there. I mean, what was your perspective on that?
Yeah, it was like I say, you know, it was cool. The people was cool, you know, they was nice. They speak to you, and it was like the environment. I know they real big on their sports team out there. I'm not really big on sports, so I really don't, you know much about it, but it was a term that they use. I can't remember the term that they use. That when you see somebody, they say this thing. It was crazy. My pops did it, and it just bugged me out. Like, you know, like, okay, when he just told me like, yeah, that's the thing that we do down here. I wish I could remember what he was saying, but they all was like on code, and I guess this is what they think out there, you know.
It is cool to see different places and the way life works in different areas. And what brought your mother's family north? Was it the auto industry? Did someone, you know, there was a huge migration from the south to the industrial cities of Cleveland, Detroit, you know, Chicago. What brought your mother's family north?
From my understanding, I think they just wanted to get out of Montgomery, you know, and go somewhere different. I never heard no other story other than that. Like, they just wanted to like leave Montgomery, and when they left, it's like 3 families. So we got the Warrens, which is, I'm a Warren, and we have the Nelsons, and we had the Youngs, and those was the family on my mom's side of the family. So those 3 families connected some type of way, some type of family tree type thing, but I haven't really got into it too that deep. But I'm connected with a few Nelsons, like that we real good, like cousins, and that's in, you know, we're around the same age, and that moved to Cleveland. Well, that's here in Cleveland, born and raised in Cleveland like me. You know, I'm not from Montgomery or Phoenix City, which is where my pop's from, my mom from Montgomery. And, you know, when they, you know, spread it out, we have people that went to Chicago. I actually have an uncle that I know for sure that's out in Chicago. And we had people move to definitely Cleveland, mainly mostly Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. What? Any idea what year your mom's family moved north?
Well, I was born, you know, 1983, so it's definitely before then. I don't know. I don't know exact year or time.
The reason I ask is Montgomery, Alabama was a central location in the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King, one of his, you know, churches was in Montgomery, and Martin Luther King's, you know, work was monumental there. I mean, the Montgomery March of 1963 is a pivotal point of the whole movement. And I mean, I could pull out books on the shelves and show you pictures. So that, was there ever any talking about the church and about MLK? And I mean, it was a huge center of, you know, Black America, you know, taking pride in breaking out of the Southern shackles and making a better, like you said, making a better life in the North rather than in the South.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't much discussion about the history of Montgomery, so I don't really know much about it. My mom, she pretty much is she's a quiet person. She stayed to herself, so she don't speak much, you know. And I mean, if you talk with her and ask questions, she'll give you answers on things she know. Like if I was to go to her right now and you know, inquire about what was life like in Montgomery of her growing up, and I never asked her that question. I should, you know, because that's good information. That's history. But I do know my mom was born, you know, 1965.
Oh, she was a baby.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know, like, she wasn't raised by her mom. Her mom, she the youngest. Like I said, I believe it was 11 of them, and she the youngest. She the baby.
All right. So the woman that you became caretaker, Aunt Pat, would have.
She was the oldest, I believe. The
So
oldest out of the girls.
She must, you know, she had to, and the older aunties would know this history, and
Yeah.
I would love to hear that, and how about the church? I mean, how much it was church and your aunties, that part of your family and your upbringing?
You know what? On my mom's side, the women's, they weren't big into the church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember my mom ever taking me to church. My mom never took me to church. So, I don't remember her ever taking me to church, but I remember going to church, but it was like nobody on my mom's side. It was on my father's side when I went to church.
Yeah, what religion? What kind of church?
I don't remember much about it.
Baptist?
I don't remember much about it, to be honest. So I would visit my pops, and I know like on a Sunday they would go. I believe it was a Sunday, And,
usually.
Yeah, and they would gather up and we would go. Even to this day, he still go to church. My pops, like on my father's side, they big on it. So I would have to get more information about that from him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do a part 2. And,
Oh yeah.
But as far as that, yeah, I don't know much about it because I've been around my pops several times out throughout my life, but he wasn't there every day.
Right.
And that's where I would probably get most of that, the church stuff from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, how'd you get into music? What hit your head that made you end up creating? I mean, what was the genesis of the artiste?
Yeah, that was interesting. Like, cause coming up in the projects, like, cause when my family, all my aunts and my mom, we all, when they come to Cleveland, far back as I remember, we was in the projects, and I remember my aunt Beverly. She is like the second or the third oldest sister, and she stayed on 55th, and 55th was like the main street, and it was in the projects. And I remember like a hardware store over there, and I remember like I believe it's like a convenience store or something like that. We used to go get chips and stuff. It's a store called Paul's. That was like one of the main stores. It's an older guy, that owned it named Paul. Grew up in the community and bought a store, or I don't know if it was he bought it or it was, he inherited it or anything. I don't know really the history on that, but that was like a store we get all our candy from, penny candy. So coming up in the projects, it was just like a fun thing. And, we go, especially like summertime, play with my cousins. My Aunt Beverly, she had all girls. She always wanted a boy, but she had all girls, four girls. My Aunt Linda, she got 2 boys. And that's going to bring me to the story of how I got into the music. My mom, it's 4 of us my mom had. I'm the oldest out of my mom kids. And I got 3 other siblings. I got 2 sisters. Both of my sisters, one sister up under me, I got a sister up under her, and then my brother, he's the youngest out of my mom's kids. And I'm the oldest, so I used to be with my cousins a lot. And this is my Aunt Linda kids, And my Aunt Linda, like I said, she reminded me a lot like my Aunt Teresa, the stories I heard about Teresa, because I never even met Teresa that I know of. But I hear the stories about her, and I see that in my Aunt Linda. So, she was like keeping the family together. She really had a lot going on. She's a hard-working woman. I really admire my Aunt Linda, and my mom. And all my aunts, like, they all played a major role in holding the family together, on that side. And it was close. And, so, my Aunt Linda, she got 2 boys. My cousin Derek, he's the oldest out of my Aunt Linda's kids. And Saku is the youngest. And me and Saku, we real close. We so close, we like brothers, And you know, Coop. I call him Coop for short.
Coop?
Yeah, Coop. Koot.
Oh, Coot.
Yeah, his name's Coop. So he go by his name's Coop Omiji Tucker.
All right.
That's too much.
No, just no. I was gonna say, can you just spell the?
I don't think he would mind that. I'll just give out names of the people that as I go along.
Yeah.
Mind, you know what I'm saying?
What? How do you spell Coot's proper?
Sekou.
Yeah.
It's Sekou.
I'm gonna try it in Words with Friends and see if they accept the word.
Cool. So Sekou played a very, very, very important role in me being an artist to this day, you know. So when I speak about him, like, you know, he's amazing. Like, you know, I never met an artist like him. Maybe because he's my cousin, I actually could sit and be in the room with him and be with him a lot of times. Like, I spent a lot of time around him, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I was the oldest out of my mom, so I didn't have an older brother. So the older brother was my older cousin. So, like, me and Coop being close to age, you know, I got to learn a lot from him. Like, this guy is great at a lot of different things. Like, you know what I mean? He's just very talented. Like, you know, some people just a natural, a freak of nature or some type of thing. That's how he is to me. Like,
what's he do? What artist? What's the kind of medium?
He was real good in sports. He real good and he very knowledgeable about the things he into, and music is one of them. So this brings me to how I got into it, because this guy is so talented. Like I say, he's like a freak of nature. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, you know, he can say stuff off the top of his head, and it's just amazing. Like, you would think he wrote this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, me, I don't have it like that. I got to write. You know what I'm saying? I got to sit down and really construct and my lyrics and stuff like that into a song or whatever. Like, this guy can say it. He don't have to write it. Like, and I know it's a lot of guys out there like that, but just to know that I have that person right there and I actually can watch him and learn from him. So, growing up in the projects, you know, it wasn't that, it was a lot of dudes rapping, but it wasn't that many that was really out there and had a name and really was buzzing. He was one that was buzzing in the streets. Like, you know, he didn't have records or nothing like that out, but his name got the buzzing because he'd go and he'd freestyle. Sometimes he write too. You know what I'm saying? His writing is just really crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, like, this guy got punchlines and metaphors to go. You know, and he just know how to adapt to the time and things of that nature. So I learned from this guy. You know, he didn't, you know, indirectly, like, he didn't really sit me down and say, do this like this, do that like that.
Sponge effect.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So, it was this one time we was in a project in the middle of the parking lot in the compound. And the compound, I'll tell you about the compound because we started in East 43rd. So that's out.
Compound, is that a name or something?
That's not really the actual name of this project, but we've been calling it the compound for so long that amongst the people that know, that's the name, you know, and you know, so and how it got its name, how I was told it got its name because it's connected to so many different, you know, different addresses. Like when we moved to the compound, I forgot our actual numbers or our address. I remember the East 43rd address, 2490 East 43rd, which is no longer there. But the one that when we moved in the compound, how we moved into the compound, one of our rooms in our apartment on East 43rd caught on fire.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I was the one that discovered that it was a fire. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I smelled smoke. And it was crazy because this was a room that was like, you know, this apartment had maybe like a 3-bedroom apartment. And downstairs, my mom, they made like, it was like this other little room. They made that one of their bedrooms, you know what I'm saying? So it was 4 kids and then it was 2 adults. So she ended up getting with a guy that she ended up marrying. They're married to this day. And, you know, when he came along, he basically took that little spare room that we had, that, you know, when family members come over, you know, they spend the night, and when he took over that room, he put a lock on his door, so nobody can go in there but him, you know what I mean? And somehow, man, that room caught on fire. So,
Man.
now I can't get in there, but I smell a smoke. You know, I smelt it, and I went down there and I told my mom, and I smell smoke coming out of that room upstairs. So she come up there, and he come up there too, and then they go in there, and sure enough, in the closet it was a full fire. A fire to the point where they couldn't even put it out. By the time they got in there, opened the door, it was gone. It was going. And this apartment room was right next to my sisters. I got my two sisters. They slept in the room right next to this room. You know what I'm saying? And but luckily I caught it in enough time where the fire department, they got there, they put out the fire or whatever. So we ended up losing that apartment.
What'd they say started it?
Well, they said it was an electric problem, So
Easy answers.
But I don't know. But I know, like, we ended up losing that apartment. I remember because our next door neighbors, it was some other female that stayed next door, and they had a nice apartment because it was like 2 apartments in one. I liked their apartment, and I don't know how they got that off. But I know their mom was like on an oxygen machine or whatnot. It was kind of sad, These girls, all girls that stayed in this house, and their mom was on this machine, But what happened when the fire happened, that's who house we was able to go over, because we had to get up out of there, and this is in the wintertime, so it was cold on the ground. I remember standing on the top of the porch, like the concrete on the porch, because on the ground was snow on the ground. It was super cold. Even on that part was cold. I ain't had no shoes or socks on. So we had to get up out that apartment once we discovered that this fire was gone. So, the fire department got there, put it out and all that. So, after that, it was kind of like a blur,
How old were you?
I was maybe about 10
Jeez.
at this time.
You dream about that? Does that end up in your head? Like, does that...
You know what? I think about it all the time because that was a real live house fire, you know what I'm saying, or apartment fire or whatever. And it was like, it freaked me out to the point where, like, I'm always mindful of a house catching on fire, and I never want to go through that experience ever again. So, I always like to make sure, like, when I leave my home, electric heaters and all that's unplugged. Anything that I feel that it, could cause a fire or anything like that, that's like a main thing that stick with me to this day. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. So, because, I ain't gonna say it was traumatizing because it wasn't a death or nothing like that. And, it wasn't really a major loss because it was mainly his stuff. He took over the room and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, it was mainly his stuff that burnt up. You know what I mean? So, and it was our room that we was accustomed going through, kicking in and stuff like that. My cousins are cool. When he was out in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Basically cool. It's like 2 years, maybe 3 years older than me or whatever. And he needed a place to go. We're in the projects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He needed a place to go sometimes. So sometimes this guy, which is me and my stepfather, or I would say my mom's husband, we cool and nothing like that. Ain't no problem or nothing like that. But we end up get into an altercation or whatever. But I mean, he cool. I grew to love him over a period of time. But my family, a lot of my family didn't like him or nothing like that. He did things for me that to make me cool with him, but at the same time, I see why my people, didn't like him, But forget all that. Like, this guy, he took over this room, and my cousin's cool couldn't come in at, times of the night because he used to climb through the window or whatever. My mom didn't let us out all types of night, but my cousin cool, he was out there, and sometimes we couldn't open our door to let him in because that would alert my mom and them because they had a room, like I say, made a room out of one of the living rooms or dining rooms or wherever downstairs. So if you open the door, they don't know somebody coming in and out of the house, even the back door. you know. So my cousin would climb up on the roof and climb through the window, and we let him in, so he has a place to go, sleep, and eat. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. Because our stepfather didn't, you know, at a certain period of time of night, you ain't coming in and out of his house. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta respect that. But at the end of the day, it was like when he took over that room and put a lock on the door, we couldn't even get in there to let my cousin in and things of that nature. You know, it was kind of crazy. But, you know, that's just, you know, family things. You know, just a little part of the history of coming up in the project. So, my cousin Coop, you know, I learned a lot from him. You know, he was like a person, like, you know, coming up the project is kind of wild. So, he was like a person that, you know, he had to protect me. He was like a bigger brother. He didn't make sure people didn't bully on me. I'm a little guy. And it happened, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna say bully or nothing like that, because I was cool with a lot of dudes, you know what I mean? But you got people that'll try you, and then, you know, and it's like when you the people that got older brothers and stuff like that, or family members that's gonna come and, you know, stand with them. You know, it's the people that really you ain't trying them all like that, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, you're kind of strong, you know. And, you know, so you know, you could go through, you could live in a hostile environment and make it through that with a little protection. You know what I mean? So
does everyone have to have protection? Does everyone have to have their back covered? I mean, can you avoid all that stuff in the projects, or do you have to play that game?
Maybe if you someone that have size, that know how to fight, and, you know, you build a reputation, and people know not to mess with that guy because he can whoop you, you know. So people that, you know, that people know, like, man, this guy, he can rumble, he got heart, and he gon', you know what I mean, don't mess with that guy. You know, those people could go through, you know, with no problem, you know. And you know, but for the most part, like say you go on a project, you know, people will try you. If you got nice things, nice shoes, and things of that nature, people, you know, they like it, they'll take that up off you, you know what I'm saying? But when you know in the project, when you know around the community, people know, like, they know your peoples, and they know, like, nah, man, he good, don't mess with him, you know what I'm saying, whatnot, like, you know, you'll be alright, you know, for the most part. Until you start getting some money, then that's all out the window. People know you got money, and they coming for it, you know, they don't care, you know. You're gonna have to have a fight. You're gonna need all that army and the muscle at that point.
Described it. He was hot in the streets, or what was his term you used?
He definitely was
buzzing in the streets.
Yeah, he definitely was buzzing. And the thing was, especially around our little community, you know, before it really got to popping, like, we had artists, we had rappers out there at that time when he was doing it. But the flavor he came with was just like, it was like on a different level, you know? Because, like I said, he could freestyle, he could give it to you right then and there on the spot. And he could go. He just keep going, you know what I'm saying? And
it makes sense and rhyme. Or,
it's just amazing, like, you know?
How long are you talking? Like, how many minutes would be a commendable, you know, free form?
You know what? I think it's, I know to say unlimited is kind of like far-fetched, because I know at some point you're going to mess up and you can keep going. But I done heard this dude go to the point where you like, all right, I'm done hearing you rap now. Like, you've been rapping all day.
Too long.
Like, this guy do that. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, for real, for real. Like, his brother, his older brother, he you know what I'm saying, he agreed with me on that. So there's been times where we just had to be like, dude, like, he rapping over the beat, like, his songs playing, do that to this day, but he don't, you know, he don't go overboard like he used to. You know what I'm saying? Man, this dude it's talented. You think I should put the mic back on?
All right, so yeah. So when you just leave it in there. When you're when you fuck up in one of them and you keep going on, are you supposed to stop when you fuck up and go, oops, I fucked up, or how do you cover that, or how do you recover from a rapping fuck up?
You keep going. You could rhyme with the shit you said that was fucked up. Try to come with a word that makes sense, and, you know, you just gotta
riff off of the fuck up.
Yeah, you gotta keep going. You know, that's the catch. You just keep going. Like, that was his thing. Like, he just keep going. But and then, like, if he do fuck up, it, like, you can't really tell, you know what I'm saying? Because of the way that's how he do it, you know what I'm saying? He'll make a joke out of it, might laugh, might pause, might, you know what I'm saying, and rhyme with the fuck up, you know, and it just sound like he go with it.
So is it basically, would you say some of the rap stylings or free forms is just basically out of hanging out and being fucked up and spitting out shit to be silly and the dudes that can keep the patter going are the ones that have the gift.
Yeah. Some of them dudes, man, they say some of their best lines that way.
All right, so how does it work when, you know, you say a guy's buzzing in the streets? How do you go from buzzing in the streets to, you know, making some money performing in front of people? How does that work?
You know what? Because I haven't yet done it, you know, I can't say I figured it out, but going off watching others that have done it, I would say, like, one of the main things is keep putting out content, keep giving the people that is following you, that is hip to what you got going on, keep giving them material, keep entertaining them, you know what I'm saying, with stuff that had them wanting to come back and stay tuned into what you got going on. And then you come to a point where, you know, the more people that you attract to what you got going on, you know, you wake up one day and then, you know, people, you know, want to buy your stuff and want to see where they can buy it from you. You know, I get that now. It's not that often, but I do get it. And I actually have people that bought my music, but it's not to a point where, you know, I definitely can't make a living off of it. But you know, I mean, it still made me feel good that I got somebody that really will pay me for something I created. But for somebody that really got a buzz and really just really like a natural, and can create at a rapid pace and at an abundance, you know what I'm saying? That guy can do it.
Yeah.
You know. Now I mean I'm okay. You know, I learned from him. You know what I mean? So what did you see him do? Did you see him play in clubs or private parties, or was it all free form? You know, what did buzz in the streets, you know, translate to for him? Okay, for instance, like we had moments where I remember us being on East 40th in Quincy. It's a gas station. They might have changed the name. At the time, I believe it was a Sunoco, but I could be wrong. And the name may be different. And it was a plaza right across the street. And this is a place where we used to hang out, the 40th gas station and this plaza. Because the plaza was a place where if you was a hustler, whatever you got, you go up there and get it off. You know what I'm saying? And so this was a spot where everybody from every project all around go in. Like say for instance, you got sections. You got Longwood, which is where the plaza was connected to. And Longwood, them dudes, man, I mean, it's a lot of them dudes in play, you know, in the projects. But one thing about Longwood dudes, man, you know, and I can't say all of them was grimy, but that's what they was known for, being grimy. You know what I'm saying?
What's grimy mean?
Grimy is somebody that'll do something to you. You know, you'll be like, damn, like you doing straight up fair business with them, but they gonna do some foul play. You know what I'm saying? Or they somebody that they gonna take your shit. You know what I'm saying? Straight like that. Like they robbing you. They will come up in your house. They will use females to get you. You know what I mean? They just do shit that is grimy and gritty.
How does someone in the rap hip hop community locally perform or generate a following? Is it only by getting content out there, or does the live experience happen? And how does it happen?
Yeah, it plays out both ways. Like, you definitely gotta have content because people need something to go off of, and you need something that can lay a foundation, something that can speak for you even when you're not speaking. So that's what the content gonna do. And the live thing is, you know, people, they connect with you in a different way. You know, content is, you know, it's there. You know, they could go back on it even if it's old. But when you live, it's like, this is right. This is in real time. You know what I'm saying? So in that, and they can get that from performances when you go and you do shows, live shows. I mean, you could get it if they there when you actually creating a video. Even with the video, that's about the same thing as far as like content. But at the same time, you can get, some people can experience it live with you. You know.
It'll be interesting to see. I would like to witness a free-form live performance, you know, and see what it's like, you know, and the differences. And it does seem like, you know, the mixed CDs and the mixed tapes that you would get were so important in bringing up rap and hip-hop, more so than any other genre I can think of, except for maybe punk, because sort of the same thing happened.
Yeah,
but, I mean, was that something that happened? You'd go to, you know, the corner store and there'd be like mixtapes for sale on the counter?
Yeah. You know what? At a period of time, that was like the main formula to get out there. Like, you know, I'm gonna say one of the main formulas is actually being out there and pushing it. You know, connecting with the dudes that's actually out there. You probably could get them like a package of maybe like 10 CDs and get them off or whatever, you know what I mean, for $1, things of that nature. I actually haven't done it myself, but I know people that have, and there's so many artists that I know, and so many of them try, you know, they go different routes of getting it done, you know, and it's like, it's just a collective of information of how to do it.
Because you said the dudes that are out there, are they're like, you know, masterminds of the scene that like can get stuff onto the counter at the corner store? Or, I mean,
it's about relationships, building relationships. So if you know somebody, you connected with somebody that have a store, yeah, you'll be one of those guys that can get in. You know,
I see.
It's about relationships.
So like the plaza being the hub of everything going, the hustle. You know, everyone has got a hustle. Music, is music included in the hustle?
We actually did. We had a guy that named Brother Ben. They was Muslims. You know, like I said, I don't really have a religion or anything like that. But you connect with different people. I'm more so about the people. You know, connecting with the individual. You know, building a relationship with that. We had a dude that named Brother Ben, and like the other Muslims at the spot, they didn't deal with the hip hop, but Brother Ben did. So he was able to connect with the people right then and there, right there in the streets, because there used to be time where, you know, the plaza was like, it was like an L shape. So you got stores coming down this way, then you come around this corner, then you got stores going that way, and you got an intersection. One of the intersections is Quincy, and the other intersection where you can get into the plaza is 40th. The only two ways you can get into the plaza, Quincy and 40th. You know, I spent a lot of time in that plaza, and you know, I used to go to the grocery store. I used to go to the Brother Ben because they used to sell this fish. I don't even know what type of fish it was. At that time, I didn't ask, you know what I'm saying, what type of fish I was eating, but it was good. They used to fry it, and they used to have these French fries, and I used to get that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And then in return, they didn't care about me standing in front of their place of business, you know, to do my business. You know, they didn't care. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? They knew what it was. They knew this is how some dudes gotta survive. And they probably was cool with me. Ain't nobody robbed their spot, you know, and nothing like that, you know. And we doing business with them, so, you know.
How about the cops? I mean,
Now the cops, and that was the thing, like, they had their people they had targeted. So you was on their radar. When they pull up in that plaza, they see your face, they own you. They know you might got something on you, you know. So if you under the radar and they don't notice you, when they pull in, they ain't, cause it's, you know, they got to pull in. They got one or two ways to get in. From 40th we Quincy. When they pull in, you can see them because people at a corner and there's people at each corner, you know. And at the light, at the 40th and Quincy intersection, it's 4 ways. You know, you can either go straight, you can go either way on 40th, or you can go either way on Quincy. So you can see them from long distance standing in the plaza, because in the back, behind us, it ain't nothing but stores and people, places of business. You know what I'm saying? So we out there selling, and they people pulling in either way. They pulling in, they going grocery shopping, they getting I believe it was a liquor store. At that time, I wasn't able to buy alcohol. And at that time, so I don't even know if they had a liquor store up in there. I don't know. But I know they had a grocery store that maybe sold something. You know, people getting there, all their stuff, and then they get whatever else they can need that the store didn't provide. You know what I'm saying? The street stuff.
Gotcha. So when the cops would pull in, how would you flee? What would the scatter be?
My thing was to go right in the Muslim store. They didn't ever say nothing. They didn't tell you can't do it or none of that. You know what I'm saying? As long as you ain't throw nothing in and they had nothing where you could put nothing, but in a trash, because how the way the couch was made, it was like a leather couch, and you couldn't really throw nothing and stuff nothing over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was a trash can for if you was to decide to eat there. They only had 2 tables in there. They had a long couch. Then they had like a window that where you could sit in the window, something like this, and you could sit and there's like an edge where you could sit on there, but that wasn't really a place to sit, but people sat there and wait on their food and things of that nature. I haven't sat there before, but you could see everything from there. So when the cops pull in, people had their places, stores they go in, and it's about relationships. So if you cool with the people in the store, they don't matter you coming up in there when the cops up in there.
Yeah. Save her ass.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll save theirs.
Mm-hmm. So that's how that went. And then it got to a point where, you know, the cops would actually come in the store sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a certain particular guy that was like on, they would actually come in there.
Why did they get on someone? What do you do to get off of being under the radar, as you said?
Yeah, well, they see you all the time because you got people like pulling in the lot, and you got some people, they didn't even get out their cars, and people run up to their car, and I got whatever you need. And it was at this time, and it's not like that now, but at this time, we talking the late 90s, and people running up to the cars, they sticking whatever. It been times when people, you go up to the car, you trying to serve them. I don't know guys that go up there and they showing them what the sacks look like and things of that nature. And it been times people will hit their hand, now all their sacks flew all in their car, and they pull it out. People try to hold on to the, I don't see anything.
How'd you get in trouble?
I got in trouble. I remember my first time ever getting caught with some drugs was I got caught with some weed. Coming out of the plaza, I was on a bike. I was coming out of the plaza from the 40th way. So I was coming out of the plaza, I was riding on a bike. I had just made a sale too. So I don't know if I got set up or what. You know what I'm saying? I made a sale on some sacks, and I was coming out of the plaza on the...
What are sacks?
Sacks of weed. You know,
Okay.
I had a couple sacks of weed. And I was coming out of the plaza on the 40th side on my bike. I seen the cops coming. They was coming from Quincy, like 55th area, you know what I'm saying? So I see them coming down. So I'm riding my bike out of the plaza going towards 40th. They coming down to Quincy. Boom. They turn on 40th. But they turning on fast. So I'm trying to hurry up and get across the street. Like, before I even get hit the curb and get my bike, you know, on the other side of the street, which will be, it's still 40th, but it was like, now I'm on where where the residences stay at. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in the plaza no more. So now they pull up fast, and then they pull up as if they was about to hit me almost. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like, jump off the bike, because now I'm discombobulated. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Keep pedaling. I can't accelerate because, you know, I'm jumping the curb. So I hopped off the bike, and that dude hop out, the cop hop out and rush me. You know what I'm saying? I still got sacks on me. So that was my first time. I remember, I was like...
What happened? I mean...
I went to juvenile because I was, I think I had just turned 17. Or either I was turning 17. It was around that time where I was either turning 17 or I just turned 17. And I remember my mom, she had to come down there. I remember her telling me one time, like, once we got out of that situation, because they let me out, I stayed in there maybe like think like 2 days or something like that. And I ended up getting out. I don't know how, but you know what I'm saying? I think it was maybe, I don't think I even had to pay a bond or nothing like that at that time. So I had a little case, and I ended up going to a program where I was able to do like it was like a drug program, because I told them I was using, you know what I'm saying? Because they ended up dropping the charge, so it'd be a lesser charge. Because it would start off as a trafficking charge because it was sacked up, but somehow they made it to where it was like a drug abuse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that how I got into the drug program. So I didn't have to do no time behind it, but it was still on my record. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it was a felony. I think it was like dropped down to a misdemeanor. I don't know which one. I can't remember, so long ago. But I know it was a misdemeanor, so I didn't have to do no time. I just had to do the drug program, 90-day program. I made it through that. The program was called damn. It was something tomorrow. I forgot what the program was called.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was so long ago. But yeah, it was a little program.
And so that's what you violated when you got in trouble the second time, or you had to?
I got in trouble again. The other time I got in trouble, it was I was actually in the projects, and this time this was it was a different drug, you know. So this wasn't marijuana this time, and I was in the projects, and it was hustling. It was at a time where it was like a drought, so ain't too many people have any, you know. And at this time, you know what I'm saying, it was crack cocaine, you know what I'm saying. So I had some shit that I ended up cooking up. It was like some shake, you know what I'm saying, from a whole bunch of different packages that I was saving up, because it wasn't where you could get it that often at that time. Like, you know, so we would, whatever, you know, we cut up our rocks or whatever little shake that you have from cutting it up, you would just keep saving it. And after a while, you know, you had whatever you saved it up to, you know what I'm saying?
The residue.
Yeah, and you was able to reroute that back up. Mm-hmm. So during this time, when ain't nobody had now, only the dudes that was using that formula or knew about that had some, you know what I'm saying? Or they had somebody that was like, you know, connected. Right. And on that level, none of us was really connected, you know what I'm saying? It was just, you know, trying to make a way, you know, and you know, going through the experience of living life and trying to get to the next level financially. So, in that course of doing that, I was like one of the only ones at that time in that area that had it. So it was a lot of activity going on right there in that area. So to the cops, you know what I'm saying, that's probably knowing what's going on and things of that nature, you know. And at this time we had CMHA, which is still CMHA. I haven't been down there in years, but it was CMHA. It was like a private law enforcement agency, you know, that's for that particular, whatever they own or whatever. And these guys was thirsty. That's what we used to always say, man. CMHA thirsty, and I knew this, you know what I'm saying. But at the time, you know, I remember it was this one cop that was like a main cop. He's always had his dog. I forgot his name again with a shit, man. He was a dude, man. Everybody knew him. I want to say his name, Shiny Steve. I don't even know if I might be wrong, but you know, people that know, they know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But then we also had this other cop named Scully. Now this dude, he used to come and he would announce himself. You know what I'm saying? And give you an interview. I mean, not an interview, but an introduction of himself. You know what I'm saying? It was bugged out, man. He'd tell you his name Scully and sit there and talk to you.
About what?
About who he is, and you know, he gonna be patrolling this area or whatnot, and you know, he cool, as long as you know, you ain't out there doing something you don't supposed to be doing, you know. And he basically saying like he ain't gonna mess with you unless he catch you out there doing something. And he was true to his word, like, you know, he catch you out there doing something. We used to call it like a storm. because see, they had to use to set like little traps to get us because of how the way the project was made. We could run through cuts and all type of do all type of little stuff. We had little buildings and hallways. You cool with somebody, you could probably go in their house. You might gotta, compensate them at some point, but it all worked out. You know what I mean? And so they would storm it. So they would hit from all different directions and try to block you in. You know what I'm saying? So you can't get any way that you gotta get past. You gotta go past them some type of way. But if you got all these dudes just scattering like roaches, you know what I'm saying? Then you gotta pick somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully he ain't athletic, guy. Because then now you gonna end up with nobody,
Yeah.
But, so it was like a game, and then but it was a serious game. Like it's serious. It's about survival, And then to the big boys get involved, you know what I'm saying? And that's the
What's that mean?
Pharaoh boys,
Why would that happen?
It's just when they get to a point where you got some guys that's in a whole different league, and that's just a whole nother different story. Like them dudes, dudes in a whole different league. So now it ain't no if you catch me if you can. Like the gingerbread man, now these guys they gonna sit and they really gonna surveillance you. They gonna really use all the type of other, means of catching you. And you can't beat them. You can't run and scatter from them.
So what got you in trouble? Like the second or third time? Why'd you go away?
So I got caught up in one of them storms. So at this time when they stormed me, I couldn't go nowhere. They had the dogs and everything. So I had it on me. I got caught with it on me. And it was a lot of us that they caught out there at this time. You know what I mean? But I'm the only one that had some actually drugs on me. Drugs were to send me to jail. And this was my actual first felony. You know what I'm saying? The weed would have been, but it got dropped to a misdemeanor. So now this is my first felony. I got caught with some crack cocaine. At this time I had maybe 20 stones on me. And that sent me to jail. I remember sitting in the city. Then I remember going to the county. Then I remember having to pay a bond to get out.
How much?
I believe it was altogether it was 1,500. It was 10% or something. I think it was 10%. It was a big number, but I only had to pay 10% of that. You know what I'm saying? So I got out on that, and so now I'm fighting this case. This case was maybe in 2002 or 2003. This happened. So after that, maybe 2 weeks after that, I get caught with some cocaine.
Okay.
So now I'm out on bond fighting this case, one case already pending, and I ain't even all the way in on that. I'm just out on bond. So now I get caught with some cocaine. And I was coming up Union, and coming up Union, it was hot around that time because a little girl, she had got kidnapped, and they found her head decapitated from her body,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
it was
yeah.
really hot, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, at this time, I had license and insurance, but at this time, I didn't know when you catch a drug case, and this being ignorant of the law, that they suspend your license, So even though I got out, I'm out on bond, my license was suspended, So now I'm coming up Union, and I get pulled over, and it was crazy because the cops already had somebody else pulled over. And he didn't even pull me over while he was inside the vehicle. He stepped in the middle of the street with the speed gun or something. And at this time, I wasn't paying attention to no speed area, school area or whatever. So I'm in the school area zone, and I was going too fast. So he pulled me over. So now I get, long story short, I had some cocaine and I thought I had my license good and all that, but it wasn't. And that was my second case. So I sat in there maybe like 30 days until I was able to, get a bond, another bond or whatever. So I got a bond, you know what I'm saying? I had to pay more money on that. And I got out because of my lawyer. Somehow he got me out. So I got out. Now I got 2 cases, and he was trying to run them concurrent. So now I'm going through the process of dealing with that. So what had me end up doing time, I get caught with some more crack. And that's when I did time. Couldn't pay no bond or none of that. It was out the question. With no bond. With no getting out.
And when did you go to jail?
This was in 2004. Right when I was getting ready to resolve the cases I had. And my son's mother, she was pregnant at the time with my son. I didn't know it was a boy at the time.
First kid?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So going through all that, and this was when I turned 20.
Where'd you go to jail?
When I did that third time and I couldn't get out, I went down to, it was a building downtown. They took me over there. From that building, I had to go see the magistrate. And once I seen that person, that's when my bond got denied. You know what I'm saying? And from downtown, they shipped me to Painesville, Lake County. So I did maybe a month in Lake County, then they shipped me to Mahoney County. When they shipped me to Mahoney County, I did maybe like 5 months in there. That's when I got sentenced. It took about that much time. I got sentenced within 6 months or whatever, or somewhere up in there. It was less than a year or whatever. I got sentenced, and I got sentenced to 60 months. This was in 2004. 2004. And by this being my first time ever had to do time or whatever, I was eligible for the drug program. In the drug program, they knock off. I think the drug program knocked off maybe about 3 months of my time. So, and then I did I was eligible to go to the halfway house. In the halfway house, I did 3 months in the halfway house, and then I was able to do 3 months on house arrest. So I did about 4 years actually locked up, and then, I was like halfway home, I guess. It was an experience, because I've never been through that, and I didn't even think I deserved that because, I didn't hurt nobody or.
What was jail like? How was that culture or society different than where he came from? What besides not being free, what?
It was like, because you got it that at some point that become your home. That's where you live. So, you got to share that with all these other people that you don't know, and we got a commissary area. Then you have your actual cell where you got to lock in, and once I went through all of the transition as far as I guess you could call them like holdovers or whatever.
What's that mean?
Maybe like where they just house you until they find out your parent institution where you actually gonna be doing
reside the rest of your sentence.
So once I got past that process, I ended up at Raybrook, New York.
What's it? Ray Boot?
Raybrook.
Oh, Raybrook.
Yeah. It was upstate New York.
What city was it near? Is that the city? Or the institution?
I believe that's the city. But you know what? There was a lot of New Yorkers up there. There was a lot of foreigners too, like Dominicans and Mexicans and stuff like that. There's a lot of that up there. A lot of people from New Jersey. A lot of people from DC area. You know, as far as like Midwest, Cleveland, and Ohio, and all that, it wasn't that many. It was probably maybe roughly about 2,000 people on that compound, and for like inmates, and it was maybe about 30 people that was scattered from Ohio, and out of that 30 people, maybe 20 of that is Cleveland.
So, how'd you acclimate? You know, the situation. I mean, did you have to choose? Is it what you see on like Orange Is the New Black? You basically choose what road you're going down, or?
To be honest, I actually never watched that show, so I'm really not familiar with how it is. But how it was like when I came in, it was like dudes was already waiting. You know what I'm saying? It was dudes just posted up on the wall. And you got a number on your jacket, you know, and the last 3 numbers, mine was 060. I don't remember my whole number, but I remember 060. And that's how dudes knew where I was from. You know what I'm saying? They knew I was from somewhere in Ohio. You know what I mean? And then you had dudes that did even further research to find out who was actually coming, and it was connected with the dudes that actually had information to tell you who the people that's hitting the compound didn't even have a little, you know, resume on them. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, you know. So, you know, and it wasn't all that detailed, but it was enough to know, like, if they wanted to mess with you or not. You know what I'm saying? So when dudes seen my number, and, you know, they seen my name or whatever, it was like we locked eyes, and then it was like, you know, you see a group of them and they just waiting for you. You know, dudes acknowledge you. You know, they tell me to come over there. You know what I mean? So you go over there and they introduce themselves and they let you know how they know who you are, and you know, things of that nature, and let you know, like, man, you good. Anything you need, we got you. And they got a package for you.
What do you mean a package?
A package is like, you know, hygiene stuff. You know, any food, you know, just to get you through your time, so where you can get situated. Anything you need, like shower shoes, headphones, radio. Yeah, they put you together. They take care of you, you know what I mean? So, and that's anywhere you go. So, you know, so if you're good peoples, anywhere you go, you know, people's gonna make your stay as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was good, you know. I was a little guy, you know what I mean? So I'm not threatening, you know. I ain't, you know, dudes ain't worried about me, you know. So, you know, I was able to adapt well, you know. As long as I wasn't a fucked up person, you know what I mean, I was cool.
Or anything positive come out of your jail stay? I mean, what was the upside? What was the upside of it all?
Well, you definitely learn a lot, you know, what to do, what not to do, you know, when you enter society again.
What do you elaborate on that, if you would, please?
Of course, the not to do's is, you know, you really don't want to make the same. You know, you definitely don't want to make the same mistakes you made before. You know, you learn from your own mistakes. You learn to be more patient. You learn to be more careful with the people you deal with. Period. Even if you're not indulging in anything illegal, you just learn to pay more attention to characteristics of people. You know, because you know you just got people that don't mean you well. You got people that do mean you well. You know, and you just got to be able to identify those characteristics, you know, because the characteristics really don't change. You know, like once you know, you got to identify with it, then you'll be okay. You'll be able to see it. So you learn those things. You learn to stay focused, on what's important. You learn to, and I mean, a lot of stuff you don't even need to go to jail and learn it. It's just these things if you didn't know it before, these things you reflect on, and people, when you talk with people that, may not gonna be coming home, may got 30 years, may got.
All right, so what are those people like? Do they just turn into jaded philosophers, or I mean, people who are in for 30 years? How do they deal with it differently?
I met two different types. I met the fighter type, and I met the type that just gave up and just it is what it is, and they're a lot different. The fighter type, he never stopped fighting his case. He never fighting. He never stopped fighting. He continuing to try to find out how he can regain his freedom. He work on his mind. He work on his body. And he just pretty much just connect with people that mean well. Mainly the person that you ain't really barely can have a conversation with, do a lot of reading, probably even writing books themselves, maybe even have outside connections or whatever. Those are the people that is the fighters. Now you got the people that's not so the fighter, that just accept what it is, their reality or whatever they perceive to be their reality. And they get into the gambling. They indulge into whatever they can do to, get them something. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't really like money in the joint. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta adapt. And those guys, they ain't fighting their case. They probably watching TV all day long. They ain't doing much reading. They playing card games. They ain't really doing much. You know what I mean?
What did you read? What was the most memorable art or book, or what did you get that way out of your experience?
You know what? During my time of incarceration, I read many books, and it wasn't many books that was like educational books. So I can't say I gained much. I mean, you can't go too much wrong with reading, period. But I read a lot of novels and a lot of like hood story books, and a couple authors. There's one author I read a book. I know his first name was Guy, but I believe it was Guy Johnson. I hope I'm not saying it wrong. And he wrote, I believe it was Echoes of a Distant Summers. I hate to be wrong. That's why, but you know what I'm saying, it was so long ago. And this novel was one of the best novels I ever read. So yeah, and I also read what was that? I read Robert Greene. At the time the information was kind of over my head a little bit, because a lot of stuff I didn't really understand before. What I did understand when I was reading the books, and I was able to break it down to my level, then it was like powerful to me. You know what I'm saying? I read what was that? 48 Laws of Power, and I read Art of Seduction. Like I say, I don't remember too much because I didn't take notes. I was just really reading the past time, and I didn't even really know what I was reading. But somebody gave them books to me to read, so.
I'm not familiar with those books. Art Seduction rings a bell. It was like, is this, you know, a motivational kind of book, or how to, you know, like a self-help or advice-ish kind of books? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty much all that, and it's like it just teach you like key things to be able to, I guess, use what you have as leverage to get what you need or what you want, or you know what I mean. And it just teach you like different, you know, skills, and it have stories in there to demonstrate, you know, what it means. So yeah, it helped out, you know. I mean, all of it just open your mind up, open your
sure.
You know, creativity.
That's what any art hopefully is, you know. And so you got out of jail and your prison, and you know, as you said earlier, came out and became caretaker for, you know, your eldest aunt Pat, and you know, I assume that's when you started working, you know, at some point in the restaurant industry in Cleveland, and getting to the point of making music and having videos showing all these images of, you know, your post incarceration life, and it looks like you came out and did something really noble for a woman that was a huge part of your upbringing and influence, and you know, kind of freed you to do music and take your life to the next chapter, you know. Tell me about, you know, the videos are, again, as we started the conversation, the videos are just incredible for independently done. And when you tell me, you know, the inexpensive and economy of these shoots, they're amazing. So you should be proud of these videos. Anyone, you know, should search YouTube for, you know, the YouTube channel, and we'll put those credits in, or if you want to shout those out right now before you talk about this all. What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, you could find me. It's Romello Warren. You know, that's Romelloo, and Warren Warren. I should pop up that way, and I also got an alias that I go by, Romelliano. So that's Romellyyano. And either one of those ways I should pop up, you know, on YouTube.
So what's with the alias? Is that where the racier stuff is or something?
Yeah, well, Romelliano came about because and that goes back to, I see, so I gotta kind of go back because we didn't really break it down to how we got into the music, yeah. And that brings me back to my cousin, you know what I'm saying? Because it's cool. And so, now this guy, I seen him do a performance at the gas station. And I say performance because, shit, he just pull up, got the music playing in the car, and freestyling, you know? And we on 40th, we got the Plaza. You got all these guys, they always out there, you know what I'm saying? So when you see a crowd of people coming around, just gathering around and hyped up, and you hear people going, they got their oohs and their ahs and stuff like that, and then you find like, it's this guy, it's cool, that's got these people going crazy like this, you know what I'm saying? And he rapping. And dudes was like, whoa. And not only that, many moments he had battle dudes, just random dudes that just heard about him and just want to challenge. And he ain't even a battle rapper, but because he's so nice with it, he can use his talent and do that. So he would crush dudes in battles, songs. He write crazy hooks. He could freestyle. I'm talking about, man, it ain't too many people that could do that. So when you gifted like that, you know, and then for me to see that, and that's to be somebody, my cousin, and I see this all the time, and then for him to see how other people react to it. Like, we already reacted to it in the house. Like, ooh, that, ooh, you know what I'm saying? To the point where we like, all right, man, that's enough. I want to actually listen to the song. I want to actually watch the show or whatever. So, when you do it out there amongst the masses of people or a crowd of people, I seen him actually do this in the middle of the compound, too. So this is actually another part of the projects where I actually moved to, because when the house caught on fire, we moved to the compound. And remember I was telling you, the compound is like 55th, 46th, Scoville, and Alpha, all put together. You know, and depending on what part of the compound where you stay at, it depends on what address you're going to have. You know what I'm saying? Ours was something Scoville, I remember. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It was Scoville, but I can't remember. I can't remember that exactly. I think it was 1412, something like that. Apartment 1412. But anyway, I don't know. That could be wrong. But anyway, so and when I moved over there, that's when I linked up with my one dude, but he actually was from Case, and he used to steal bud from his brother. He used to go up to his brother was locked up. This is when I was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
How'd you meet him?
We was like hanging around, like we stayed around on the same. Like I stayed on East 43rd. This before I moved from 43rd, so we became friends. And I really don't want to say his name because I don't know if he want to be cool with that.
No.
But we grew up. We was on East 43rd, and he stayed like around the corner because East 43rd is a one way. East 43rd is a one way, and it's like a bend, like a corner. You turn the corner, and like maybe like the second apartment when you turn that corner, that was where he stayed. His mom and him and his sister, I believe. Yeah, they stayed right there. So it was like a organic like relationship, like, because we stayed on the same street. So when I linked up with him, he was a little bit more wild, like he was doing all type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, and he had a brother, I guess, was getting some money.
What do you mean all kinds of stuff and make you laugh?
He was in the streets, you know, and he was just like, I mean, it was everybody, it was a lot of people that was in the streets, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, we link up with a friend that actually exposed you to certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen it going on around me at the age of 14. That's when I actually started smoking weed too. You know what I'm saying? But I seen a lot of stuff going on around me, but I never was actually indulging in it myself. You feel me?
Yeah.
So when I linked up with him, that was like my first experience to actually indulging in dealing with any type of drugs or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was like an experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already my friend. So he was already clipping his brother, like, you know what I'm saying? Because his brother had a garbage bag full of weed, you know. And
so how much weed are you talking about?
I don't know. It was in a garbage bag. I went up there one time with him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was his friend. He never took nobody else up there with him, but I was a friend that was able to go up there. I went up there one time with him, but all the other times he really didn't need me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what do you mean? Describe the lockup, or what? I mean, where would someone hide? Was it in his house or something, or?
Yeah, it was in the room. Like the one time when I went up there, it was in his grandma's house. We went in there. You know, the grandma, she was just sitting on the chair watching TV. She, you know, she was up in the age. She ain't really doing too much movement. You know what I mean? And she, you know, that's her grandson, so she ain't really worried about him. He going in the house to change clothes or whatever. He brought his friend with him. Now, I didn't, you know, really go all the way up in the room. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty much like outside the room, you know, make sure Granny don't bust him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, or move come, you know what I mean? So, he in the room, he in there in the garbage bag, you know what I mean? There was a garbage bag in the room, and he in there grabbing whatever he could grab. At the time, I didn't know what he was grabbing. I just knew it was weed. That was it, you know. I don't know, like, weight or whatever. But I knew, like, you know, when we get the weed, when we had the weed, we got the weed, and we went back down in the project, it was like, what I was seeing was party time. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, at the time, like I said, I'm seeing all this other stuff going on around me. I never indulged. I see dudes getting money off of it. You know what I'm saying? So I tell him, like, man, you know, we probably could make us some money. You know what I'm saying? But I did actually started smoking weed at that time too. You know,
the same time you finally got stoned, you started dealing. You saw the economic reality of the
substance. I already was seeing
You said you decided, I like it enough that if I'm going to do it, let's make some cake off of it.
Yeah, so that's what I said to him. And I didn't know nobody else to get it from but him, and how he was getting it from his brother, you know what I'm saying? And I knew it was his brother because that's what he told me. So anyway, but that was short-lived. But it started something, you know what I mean? And he maybe was able to do it maybe like 3 or maybe 4 more times, and it was, I think it came a complete stop because he told me his granny moved it, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, and his brother was getting out or whatever, so anyway. But anyway, you know, so now I had me a few dollars off of, you know, pumping the bud, and I wasn't really getting what it was worth because it was dudes that was older than me that I knew that was out there that would buy, and I knew that was smoking it, like my older cousin, his friends and stuff like that. My cousin was the one that actually showed me. My cousin Cool that actually, and it was my other dude. I don't really want to say his name, but they actually showed me, like, cause I was able to get it. Like, we was all young at that time, and they ain't had access to it like that. And they like, oh man, you getting this? You coming across that? You coming across the blood like that? So it was like, man, they getting over on you. And my one dude, it was his brother that was one of the dudes that was really getting over on me, man, because he ain't knew what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? He knew I ain't know what I was doing and knew what I was giving him. So he getting way more, but I'm getting it for free. My dude don't want nothing for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm his friend. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just ready to party, you know. He didn't think to make money off of it. So it was no thing until it dried up. But now, when it dried up, I had a thing going to where now people was like, you know, you got some more. They know me for what having
you created the market.
Yeah. So, but I didn't never had no real connection with nobody that can keep me going because he was ripping his brother off. You know what I mean? And so now I had to that was a part of the game that I didn't know, and I had to figure that out. Like, it's all new to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I got introduced to actually trying to make money and hustling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right, so tell me about what happened to Coot in his music.
So Coot, he was always there. You know what I mean? So even before the music, now 14 is when I started making music. You know what I'm saying? Because at 12, now this throughout the years, at 12, Coot been doing this. Like I said, when I first got hip to it, because I was able to be out there with them, my older cousin, my mom was cool with me being out there. We was from the project. I was like around like 12. I was already running around younger than that. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I was finding bike parts and stuff to put together, whatever. But not to get off topic, because I always do that, you know, so bouncing always when you take me back, you know. But Coop was always there, you know what I mean? So even with the buzz situation, he was the one that had to show me how to what was I supposed to serve and how much I supposed to get off of it, and this and that. So when he seen that, he like, oh, this is what my little cousin doing. Like, you know, he thought that was live to him. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of made me feel some type of way too. This is my older cousin. I looked up to him. Anything he was doing, he was exposing me to everything. Anything in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because he was there. He was protecting me. He ain't let nobody do nothing to me. And even his brother, because we all grew up in the same area, and it was just us. And it was only the ones that was older than me out of my family. You know what I'm saying? It was down there. Anybody else would have been like friends. And there ain't no telling how that would have went.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Family love you, so they really protect you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I had. I had those two guys. And then my older cousin, you know, he started working and doing that. He was just getting out of the streets. He didn't want that life, you know. And his mom, you know, she was a hard working woman, you know what I'm saying? My Aunt Linda. Like I say, she was like my Aunt Teresa. You know what I'm saying? She held the family together. And she got a husband, and they the same. So they the only ones that really owned it, anything in the family, like property or whatever. And which was their parents. My cousins are Cool and Derek. So Derek, you know what I'm saying, he going off the formula. His mama, he getting the job and working. He was in the streets and stuff too, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he got out of that. You know, a lot of stuff was happening. People dying, going to jail, stuff like that. And that ain't how he was raised. It just was the environment we grew up in. It's like you kind of got to adapt so you can kind of get distracted. You know, for my mom, it was a different story because she wasn't she wasn't all that fortunate to land, a husband or something at that time, or a guy at that time that could really make a difference. And as well as she was struggling herself, So we was in the projects a lot longer, But my cousins was always come down there. So Coop was always there. So then, through the course of all that, me hustling, trying to do this and do that, I found some people I could get, keep it going. And like I said, my cousin was there. My cousin actually knew somebody. So he turned me on, We kept it going. So he doing the rap thing. I'm seeing him, so I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by the music because I'm like, damn, I want to do that too. You know what I'm saying? I like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I like that. So, and, I'm watching him and I'm doing it. He really thought, at that time, he was like, man, you look, cousin, don't do this. You know what I'm saying? I got this. You know what I'm saying? The rap thing wasn't like something that he never really thought that I could do, So, I used to always go to him when I used to write things and come up with stuff and go to him, and then he wasn't never really feeling it. So it was almost, he made me feel I ain't have it for real, but even then I still never gave up because I was inspired by him. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna learn it. So indirectly, I would just watch him do his thing. He never really recorded music, so I never got to really see that side of it. He didn't really record music till years later. When I started actually doing it and got serious and recording and stuff like that, going through the process of dealing with people in the studios and not sounding right, wasting money and things of that nature, and then to the point where I got it to where you hear it today, it's a whole lot better. It's been actually on a level, probably not on a level as the majors, but it's close enough.
Yeah, the digital revolution has allowed anybody to make music that sonically, signal-wise, fidelity-wise is, greater than what the Beatles made Sgt. Pepper on.
Exactly.
Or a classic rock album that was like, first overdubs. This is better than what was there for Led Zeppelin.
Exactly.
And how do you record? How do you create?
Yeah, so I go to today I go to Top of the World. I've been rocking with Top of the World for some years now, just doing songs here and there, like I said, and I started a company as well in 2015, Money Planning Entertainment. And it was crazy because even right now I really don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I knew that much to actually start, get an LLC and get it going. And mainly I did that because I knew I had all this talent. And my cousin, Saku, he's just crazy, like a freak of nature. Like one day you get to meet him and you can interview him as well, and we gonna get it going. I know other people, and so I go to Top of the World and they do a great job. They, I met other people that give me a good sound recording, but them guys, Matt, and he make beats too. He go by Matt Like the Flame, and his brother Josh. Now Josh is the one that owned Top of the World. He the one that even showed Matt the, as far as the engineering stuff, as far as production and making beats or whatever. I think that was Matt's own thing. I don't really know how, where he get all that from, but he good with that. I asked him, did some business with him and bought some production from him. You know what I'm saying? So so I go to them, and I deal with different videographers. Logan Kingston is one of them, and he the one that shot Real Love with me and Nefertiti Avani. And
that was amazing. That was my entry point, and the production on it, the sensuality of the song, of the video. I mean, it was better than anything that was on VH1 and all the video channels 20 years ago. It was amazing. It was really amazing. And then clicking on the other ones and you see the imagery matching up with the words that are being talked about, and it was blow away. And I mean, who
and the other guy that I love and do great job, and what I'm saying, him and Logan King is they like neck and neck to me, you know what I'm saying? And as far as like creativity, they both got a great eye, you know what I'm saying? I love their visual work. And his name is Congo. He go by 14 Congo on his social media. But you know, his name Congo, and he his production company is Gold Real Productions. Gold Real, like that, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, you know, them guys, man, and the reason why I say those two guys is because, you know, along my journey, you know, when I linked up with those guys, man, it was all love, and they and you know, they patient with you, and they coming with what they do too, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't all on you, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? They creative.
Just like you said, those guys make beats, you know. So when you go in to make a song, you just have a rap in your head or a set of words you want to lay down, and they do the music part, or how does that work?
Yeah, it play out various different ways. Like sometimes I can have something already that I've been like I might was just riding and got inspired by something I heard or anything or something I might be listening to some of my music and I might something might pop in my head from what I heard when I'm listening to cause me to create something else, and I had that already ready made. I build on that, and then maybe like a hook, maybe like 4 bars or anything, something like that, or a couple bars. Once you got, as long as you got something to start with, you good. You can build from there. And sometimes it could be I get the beat first, you know, and then I listen to the beat, and I might ride to it. I might listen to it in the house in different ways. I might listen to it, and I let it kind of communicate with me. I let it kind of tell me what direction to go into, and then you know thoughts to start to formulate to where I can put those words that I'm coming up with, and I use real life stories, and I also get creative too. So I mix it, and I come up with my lyrics, you know, and I just try to paint a picture, you know, with my rhymes. So when for the listener, you know, they can kind of actually see what I'm talking about, you know. Like, so if I'm saying things, I want them to be able to be like, oh, I could, you know, it just, you know, it's working. It's not only entertaining to the ears, entertaining to their mind too, you know, because they can actually see what I'm saying. And I like when artists do that, you know, because I know a lot of music is right now we like, you know, it's just a lot of bragging about, you know, what they doing and what they got. I could do that too, and I like that. I like that type of music too. I listen to it, I like it, but I love the music that can actually really just, you know, spark my mind and make me see what they saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, you know, I like. That's why I love Punchlines and Metaphors, which is so cool. He do, my cousin Cool, he do well, you know, and that's why I really, you know, if I was to ever look up to an artist and he's nowhere near a major artist and nothing like that, he's underground, and that's why I love underground as well. Now I guess we get to that too. So I don't know if I'm getting off topic because I know you be asking me questions and I'll just go.
No, you're perfect. You're perfect. It's unbelievable the parallels to what you're describing right now to the underground. I mean, underground in any musical scene is where the creativity bubbles, and the next thing happens out of. And if there's not an underground, there's nothing happening. There's no creativity. It's sort of like how there's no creativity in a style that's already become mainstream. If you're not underground, you're not pushing the envelope.
Exactly.
So the parallels to punk music, especially in Cleveland, are amazing. You know, to what you're talking about. They took technology and created from the underground and turned stuff upside down. So it's the same thing, and it's fascinating to hear any underground culture. You know, subculture is really what we're talking about in underground. Mainstream is vanilla. Everyone can go to the store and lick up vanilla. You know, getting the stuff that's flavorful or distasteful, is the shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where you learn. You know, and no one learns unless edges are pushed or people fail or triumph. You know, and
Exactly.
if you're just going, "Ugh," you're pablum. You know, you're spoon fed. But anyhow, so you what software you hear a beat or a song you want to sample and then you just go on the computer and play with it till you get something going, or
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works that way a lot too. Like usually, like now today, like usually I'll go like on the web on one of these producers' website or whatever. Sometimes they send you emails and stuff like that, or they see you like an artist or whatever, and they want you to check out their material. You go on their website and they got a list of beats or whatever you can listen to, and you listening to their catalog, and you stumble across a lot. A lot of these dudes are talented. You stumble across a lot of beats that you just want to rock to, but it's like, you know, it's a business too, you know, so you can't really just use the beat. You got to work some type of thing, some type of deal out. So it get complicated when you're dealing with the people that's over the web or anything of that nature. So I usually don't try to go that route when I go for beats, but I do go that route still. I predominantly try to go the route with producers that I actually can talk to and, you know, have a conversation with, and they can see where I'm at as an artist, and they can let me know where they at as a producer, and I, you know, we get an understanding of which each other could do, opposed to just going off just listening to, you know, the art or whatever we created. You know, we have that, and we also have, you know, the intimate conversations and stuff like that, and and that help at with building relationship and help with the creativity, because then they can kind of make something tailor made to your style, you know, and or you can let them know. You also can let them know your style. You know what I mean? It's nothing like being able to communicate that. So I try to go to those producers that I actually can sit down and talk to, and Not Like the Flame is one of them. Lady Trauma is one of them. It's a female producer, amazing, you know, and she is paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? She's in a wheelchair, you know, and I don't know if she would be. I don't even know if she'd be cool with me saying that, but it's facts, and it's what it is, and I just say that to say, like, she ain't letting that stop her. She's still dedicated, and she's still a dope producer. You know what I'm saying? And it's just amazing to hear what she come up with. You know, so I love her production, and this is like someone I actually could go and talk to and sit and, you know, let them know my style, and I actually did that, and she actually, you know, created something that I love. You know.
How'd you meet her?
I actually discovered her on the web. I believe it was when I first discovered her. I believe it was through Facebook, and it was like a big thing. She was making she produced stuff from other artists that I was actually looking into. So I seen like she was working, and I actually heard some of her production from some of the artists that actually used her production, and I liked it. And I was like, oh, I think she dope, and I would like to work with her. So I got from there. I went and I actually seeked her out and found her web on Facebook, and that's where it started. And then, of course, when IG came out, I connected with her on that. But then before that, I already, you know, shot her a DM and let her know I wanted to work with her. You know, so I thought she was dope and all that. And then some time after that, she did something amazing again, where she actually really connected with Missy. Like, she actually got it in a photo with Missy Elliott, and I guess Missy Elliott is inspired her. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And somebody that she looked up to. So for her to actually meet Missy, and Missy to even think that Lady Trauma is dope, it was like a big deal, and I was like happy for her. Like, that was a major accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Especially for a Cleveland artist, and she, like I say, she paralyzed, and she's still pushing, and she a female. It's just all that. So, and she dope. Like, she just do what she do. And another person I really love, production I love, is Sosa 808. You know, Sosa 808. And he dope. And, you know, another Cleveland producer. You know. And
how would you what's different between their styles?
Sosa, Mad Like the Flame,
And Lady Trauma.
Okay, Matt Like the Flame, he got more of a club type. He make all type of different productions, but I know like his main thing that I know him for is like the club joints. He make some club bangers. He's just real dope with that, you know. And
what do you mean? Something makes people dance?
Yeah, like you could play in the club. You
Yeah.
can make like a, I guess I don't want to say a uppity type beat because I'm not sure if it could be uppity because he make different type of beats, but it just it make you want to dance and you know some of you'll drink too in the bar on the you know in the hip hop type of scene and it be hip hop type of club joints, club bangers like that, you know. And he make other joints too and they dope. Like I say, I really like his club joints and Lady Trauma, she, like I say, you know, she got like a Missy Elliott type of feel to her. When I get like a Lady Trauma type of track, you know, it made me wanna like get into like a New York type of style of flow though. Even though it's like a Missy Elliott type of production, you know, she got a lot of similarities to what Missy Elliott would do, but I feel like she made me want to get into my New York type of style of flow. Like in New York, they usually got like the East Coast type of they got the bars, they got the punchlines and metaphors. And like I said, you know, that's where my cousin come into play because he real good with that. And I grew up listening to a lot of the East Coast music. You know, I'm always go back to my cousins because they helped out a lot when it came to the music. But then I got another twist in me too, you know, because my mom, you know, I'll get to that in a second. You know, my cousins, they came with like a lot of the hip hop and they, that's how I got hip to a lot of the music that you know I used to listen to in my earlier days. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't know much. You know what I'm saying? They
What bands hit you? Which hip hop acts or music that your aunts played? You know,
my aunt
or
my cousins.
Or your cousins, right?
Yeah, my cousin, my cousin Derek,
bands?
Derek was really like the main dude that came with all the different type of flavors. Like he used to listen to East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, not a lot of South, but he listened to some South too at that time. But yeah, it was predominantly East Coast that he mainly played, and it was like Wu-Tang. Like he used to play those dudes, and you know I didn't really understand those dudes at the time, but that shit sounded dope. You know what I mean? And I used to listen to it like, damn, you know I didn't really understand them dudes, but then I had my older cousins to break a lot of that down to me. But then we got into, you know, like when you get into like the Jay-Z's, you know, the Nas, then of course you got the Biggie, you got the Tupac, and all that was like that 90s era. You know what I'm saying? So
and they're all East Coast.
Yeah, well, Tupac, yeah, he
either.
mainly like West Coast.
Yeah.
And that's mainly like my cousin Derek. He came with a lot of the West Coast. My cousin Coop, he was like the East Coast head. He got the Locks, he got the Biggie, he got the Mace, he got the you know, like I said, he just all over the place. People with them bars. You know, he come over like the Pat Pools, the Big L's, the Big Puns. He was hitting me on all them type of dudes, you know. He's real underground type of artist too. Like he seek out a lot of that stuff, and that's why I love it because I love getting hip to the new stuff that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always revert to the underground for when I go to you know, listen to music, or even when I make music. I like the underground. I'm cool with the underground. But see, the thing about it is, if I was to able able to make it major, you know what I'm saying, I would only use that platform to pull up the underground dudes and put them on a bigger, you know, platform, because I think it's dope just breaking new talent.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Noble.
Yeah.
And it's all about connecting and helping and exposing. What's been your proudest musical achievement up to this point?
I would have to say my videos and the content that I've been creating. I haven't made much money off of it, but I don't, you know, the money cool. I don't actually really even do it for the money. Like, I understand it's a business, so of course you know you want to make sure you do it right to where if it's going to be any type of return, you want to get compensated and get your cut. You know, what you know, you create the content. So that part really ain't kick in to even brag about. But as far as like the accomplishment, as far as like creating it, it's like, man, you know, I'm reaching different levels to it, you know, and I'm, you know, every time I learn something new, you know, I can apply it in some type of way. It feel like, you know, I'm writing my autobiography or something, you know what I'm saying? In a
Yes, I
musical
did.
way.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel like, you know, when I write my song. So I really don't like rushing the material, you know. I like to try to perfect it as much as I could before I put it out to the masses, you know. I want it to make sense. I want people to be able to have something to think about when they listen to some of my music. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to make you feel something too. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to, like, when it's just not a song you just listen to and you bob your head. I wanted to touch you in some type of way, you know. So, and I mean, different songs, of course, going to do different things. So that's my main thing. While I keep coming with the content.
Very good. Very cool. Well, I'll tell you, yeah, we definitely could do part 2.
I don't have to, because
wasn't this fun?
Yeah, and it kind of went smooth. I don't know how I did, to be honest with you. I know I stumbled a couple times and stuttered, but you know what I'm saying. It's like it just
When
taking me, you know, what I mean? You're taking me places, you know.